Today I'm speaking to the founder of From Felicia. I'm very excited to hear what she has to say about her wonderful products. So I'll go straight over to her. Hello, could you introduce yourself, please?
Sure, yes. So I'm Rachel. I'm the founder of From Felicia, and I started From Felicia in February of 2019, so a few months ago. And I've been on, well, From Felicia is a womb wellness journey, a womb wellness brand, and I started my womb healing journey in about 2016. So essentially, From Felicia is a brand for women, and it's all about us really prioritizing our womb health or our Yoni health, because that then opens the doorway to so many different things that we can experience fully as women. So that's what From Felicia is about in a nutshell.
Lovely. So it's Felicia. I should have known that, actually. I read everything how I see it, Felicia.
Yeah, it's Felicia. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So could you tell me a little bit about Yoni steaming? Because, you know, you blend your herbs and everything, and they're for different things and stuff. And just in general, tell us a little bit about some of the blends that you have, but also why you believe Yoni steaming is good for you.
Sure. So Yoni steaming, I think there's been a lot of recent focus on the practice. You may have seen tons of people posting about it on Instagram, but it is an ancient practice. It's nothing new. So it's been done like thousands and thousands of years ago from or by our maternal ancestors. So women have done it in various cultures across the world, and historically, there's evidence of it in cultures such as Asian cultures, in the Caribbean, in Africa, and the reasons women have done it, they differ according to where they live. So some cultures have done it for more of a postpartum healing, for healing after childbirth, because it really helps heal those areas that may have teared or expanded during the child delivery process. And then Asian cultures, they tend to have done it for more of a feminine wellness or feminine goddess connection. So there are various reasons why women have done it, and the practice has survived for hundreds of years, and there is a lot of recent focus on Yoni steaming now. I think because as a society, as a collective, we as women, we are starting to return to how can we really empower ourselves as women, and what is our innate or unique power, as opposed to men. All the focus has been on men for these past years, and now we're starting to look at who we are as women and redefine who we are. So Yoni steaming, yes, it is a physical practice in the sense of it's literally sitting over a pot of boiling water. The water isn't boiling hot, but it is warm when you sit over it. And essentially in that water, you may put herbs from the earth in it, or you may put like citruses, like lemons or limes or salt, essentially anything that will enter your bloodstream, help balance feminine hormones, regulate cycles, quicken recovery process after childbirth. Those are some of the reasons that women do it. But essentially, it is sitting over a pot of warm water and letting the steam rise up into your vagina, into your womb space. And then once those herbal properties enter your bloodstream, that's when a lot of the healing begins. So that's why women have done it over the years. And there is a lot of there's a lot of recent focus on it. I think you may have seen that some celebrities have been doing it and it's been over the news, but that essentially is why women do it. And the reason why I love the practice of Yoni steaming so much is because, I really thrive in terms of my self-care practice on things that I can do regularly. So I haven't really been too consistent with journaling, for example, or going to the yoga studio to do yoga classes. But Yoni steaming, you can do it in the comfort of your own home, so you don't need to go anywhere to do it. You need very little equipment to do it, and it's really easy to do once you learn how to do it. So that's why I really love the practice. And as I said, you can use multiple different things inside the water. It really depends on what you feel connected to. From Felicia, I really advocate using herbs, so organic herbs, because it helps us connect to Mother Nature. And also, there's so many different properties, so many different herbs that are available to us, and it's really nice that we can like have the choice of choosing. I want to use X, Y, and Z herb because it gives X, Y, and Z purpose, or it has X, Y, and Z properties. And you know, the fact that you can actually smell the organic herbs and touch them and see the different colours, for me, it really helps me connect to the nature around us, and it really helps me feel at one with nature and also at one with the world around me. So for me, it's like a holistic well-being practice, and that's why I'm such a huge advocate of Yoni steaming.
Wow. How often do you recommend doing it?
So it really does depend on your individual circumstance. So I guess the very basic is if you don't have any issues, feminine issues, so if your periods are regular, they tend to come on time every month. If you don't have infections, if you don't have really heavy periods, you can literally do it twice a month. So I would recommend to do it before your period to help your body prepare for its monthly detoxing, and then after your period again to help your body release any of the debris or tissues that may not have fully expelled during your period. So it's very it's advisable to do it twice a month if you don't have any problems whatsoever. Some ladies do experience irregular periods or spotting during their periods. They may have fibroids or cysts. And therefore, how often you may do it will differ according to your individual purpose. But just on a general basis, if you don't tend to have any of those problems, there's no reason why you cannot do it a few days before your period and then a few days after your period.
Okay, lovely. You might not know the answer to this, but you mentioned irregular periods. So my cycle lasts anywhere between 27 and sometimes up to 37 days. And I would really like it to be a bit more regular so I can plan around it and think, okay, when do I need my quiet days and stuff? But I never can because of the fact that my cycle can be any length, you know, between this. So could Yoni steaming regulate my cycle? So make it like a 28-day or however many days it wants to be, but just so it's the same every month.
So yeah, there are many factors that impact the duration of our cycle, and the whole premise of holistic living is that we need to look at our bodies and our lifestyles as a whole, and that tends to mean there's not just one thing that will solve all problems. So yes, there are, if you use specific herbs that are related to our female cycles and that are specifically related to perhaps lightening our cycles or shortening our cycles, then it may help shorten your cycle. But we have to be mindful that there are many different factors that contribute to the length of our cycle. You know, the foods we eat, you know, if you're not eating completely organic, for example, or you're eating foods that have been injected with hormones, or, you know, foods that tend to be linked with longer, perhaps, or heavier cycles, that may have an impact. You know, where we live, you know, the pollution. There are so many different factors that may impact our cycle, even like the chemicals that are found in our beauty products. So there probably may be a huge elimination process, but yes, you have to be really specific about the herbs you use, and that's why on the From Felicia website I do have a herb Bible, so you can see a list of herbs that are known to be related to shortening cycles. So you can look at that, for example, but you need to be really specific about the herbs you use and make sure they're ones that are associated with a feminine cycle, and then yeah, you may be able to see a difference.
Okay, lovely. I'll check it out on your website then. Okay, I really wanted to hear a bit about your journey and how you got into doing this work. I know a little bit about it already because I read it on Instagram, but tell everyone else.
Sure. So I think my journey started. Well, it started number one in 2015. So in about the autumn time, I had my own personal womb trauma experience, and it was really painful. It was really shameful. Essentially, it was something totally unexpected, and I didn't ever imagine myself experiencing that. So it did take me a long time to heal from my own personal womb trauma. Therapy definitely helped, but I felt internally, I felt like I needed to be healed from what I had experienced. And I know a lot of women, they feel after they experience some kind of trauma that, oh, my body is now ruined, or my womb is ruined. They feel ashamed about what's happened to them. And that's what instigated my search to, okay, how can I heal my womb from this, and how can I also heal emotionally and physically? So I started that search, and I think I'm 29, so my generation, we tend to go straight to the internet when we're searching for answers. And I was searching, I think I somehow came across videos about Yoni steaming and using Yoni eggs on YouTube. And I didn't start it straight away because, for me, although yes, I'm Nigerian, and the elder ladies in Nigerian culture, they tend to use Yoni steaming strictly for postpartum healing. To the younger girls like myself, they don't really tell us about the practice. So I didn't start Yoni steaming straight away, or using Yoni steaming and using Yoni eggs straight away. But I think over a few months, I became more familiar with the concept. And then I tried it out, and I could not believe how relaxing Yoni steaming felt. And it just made me really tune inwards. And over time, so that was probably about 2.5 or 3 years ago now. And I haven't been doing Yoni steaming every 2 weeks for 3 years. There have been times where I felt like I can take a rest from it. But essentially, I just found the practice so relaxing physically, because it really activates the part of you that just tunes inwards, slow down, and relaxes. But also, I found the practice really beneficial from an emotional healing point of view. So actually, I think a lot of us, whilst we're looking for emotional healing or womb trauma healing, a lot of us tend to suppress what we're feeling, and we don't really tend to give much attention to those difficult emotions or difficult thoughts. But Yoni steaming, it's literally just you and your pot and your herbs, and you've got nowhere to hide, and your thoughts have nowhere to hide as well. And it really helps. Although yes, it can be a bit painful, those feelings or emotions come into the surface, but you do have to face them head on, and it helps you heal because you're not suppressing those emotions. And for me as well, or for people in general, Yoni steaming, there are spiritual benefits to it in terms of you can heal from traumas, it can bring a lot of emotional balance. There's also an aspect, some people say, about it helping you reconnect to your ancestral line, because this is a practice that has been practiced for thousands of years. So some people do say that they perhaps hear inner guidance from perhaps their anan or a grandma that's passed away, or ancestors way back in our line. But that's how my practice kind of started. And the reason why I've continued with it is because it's so easy to do, but it also makes me feel like really refreshed and whole as a woman. And it's really helped me build my confidence as well. It's made me feel connected to, I know this is a really cliche phrase, but my goddess energy. Made me feel like I am, it's made me realize almost the beauty of being a woman, and what that means, and what it means to acknowledge your womb and your yoni area, and the power that lies within that. And because I haven't really found that from other self-care practices that I've done, that's what's really helped me remain connected to the practice.
Yeah. Well, I read an article I never read the papers, but when it's stuff around the things I'm interested in, if I hear about it, and usually it's through social media, I'll read the article. And it was about, it was basically an article bashing Gwyneth Paltrow for, advocating yoni steaming and everything, and saying, oh, there's no scientific basis of it, and it's just woo-woo nonsense. And I thought to myself, what do you know, you dick? But you know, it's like what you're saying about, even if there's no scientific proof of it, and let's say the herbs don't work, let's say the steaming doesn't work, that practice of actually, it is just you and these herbs and that steam and that pot and everything, and it forces you to actually acknowledge stuff within you that ordinarily in the busyness of your life would just get buried. And yes, it is painful, but it's through bringing it up and experiencing that you can finally start to move through it, you know. So it's just like it's got so many subtle levels of how it works with us. And I mean, as women, we know that we don't need scientific proof for everything, you know, because we're women, we're like magic, you know. We don't need that. You can't show evidence in science for everything that happens within us, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And what I really find is, number one, from the scientific point, is modern medicine is actually founded on herbal traditional medicine. And all that knowledge, that ancient, initial knowledge, that's the foundation of our medicine today. So we shouldn't discredit that. You know, the beauty of modern medicine is that it's really great for diagnosis once you identify what's going on with your body. But the traditional ancient medicine, it's still really beneficial, and that's why there are societies that still use herbal medicine today. And modern medicine, they're able to, I guess the beauty of modern medicine is that they're able to do multiple studies and generate the same results every time. And herbal medicine, it really does depend on your overall lifestyle, where you get your herbs from, if they're organic, if they're not organic. I go really deep into Yoni steaming and feminine wellness. So I post on Instagram about speaking to the water that you're going to be boiling your Yoni steam herbs in, because water itself can hold memory, and that can impact the result that you get from your Yoni steaming practice. Speaking to your herbs and thanking Mother Nature and giving her gratitude, and that again can impact what you receive from your herbs. So there are so many different, I guess, aspects to Yoni steaming, and I just totally don't think we should discredit herbal medicine, because that's the foundation of modern Western medicine. And also, we still use herbal medicine today. The Yoni steam herbs, the blends that I create, they can be drunk as herbal teas, and I haven't seen any articles that are against herbal teas. It's just the fact that it's just the fact that Yoni steaming, not everyone has heard about it, but actually the vaginal tissues, they're really, really absorbent, and I liken allowing the herbal properties to enter your vaginal tissues, to using medicine as opposed to taking it orally, like perhaps a tablet. Sometimes we're advised to take droppers under our tongue, because those properties enter our bloodstream or our bodies much quicker than if we took a tablet. And it's the same thing, also very similar thing with our vaginal tissues, which are really absorbent, and it allows those herbs or the salts, whatever you're using, to enter your womb space, enter your bloodstream really quickly. So that's what I say, I guess, to counter these articles that are strongly against. But then also we've got to remember as well that, we live in societies that need to make money, and governments need to have some kind of regulation as to medicine. A lot of the governmental organisations, they're funded by these massive corporations that produce the medicines that we use today. And so, for example, if suddenly everyone is against herbal medicines that you can't produce in the lab and that aren't funding these massive organisations, then our society will lose out financially as a result. So you've got to remember that everyone has their own agenda, but the people who had our women, our feminine priorities at the top of the list were our maternal ancestors, and they were able to survive and produce babies. And then men started getting, I get a bit jealous about the power that we had, and they tried to change it into their own hands. But you got to think about, okay, why are these things happening? Why is there a push on things that don't empower women, or that try and tell us to not understand our bodies or believe our bodies are totally unpredictable and evil and we can't trust our feminine cycles, and really question that, and then come to your own conclusion about how you want to treat things that may be happening with your body, or maintain wellness and prevent illness from happening.
Yeah, God, you're so speaking my language. I love everything that you're saying right now. Yeah, you know what? We could actually go on about this forever, because it's such a, there's so many branches to this topic, and everything you're saying about, like very often, when you started speaking right in the beginning, and you were saying about, it's been about men for a long time, and I was like, yeah, that's why they don't like Yoni steaming. I was thinking that at the time. That's why they bash it, because it is about empowering yourself, your feminine, yourself as a woman, so yeah, no, thank you so much for all of that. I would love to actually speak about this more in depth at another time, because I think it's just so powerful, and more women awaken to this knowledge. So it'd be great to talk another time.
Sure.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me as well. I'm really looking forward to the festival in October. I went to last year's one as a participant, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I cannot wait. I was so glad when I saw the email that you were doing another one. So looking forward to that.
Thank you.